welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do a video just talking about the books that I have read so far this year. I don't know if it's the end of Q1 or if we're in the middle of Q2. I'm not sure what Q we're in, but I have read a total of 50 books in the past 5 months. We're in the middle of May. I think that's pretty good for me. I was hoping for 150 books this year, but if I just hit 100, I'll be perfectly fine with that. So I wanted to go over my favorite books so far that I have read. I have read some amazing arcs, I have read some amazing physical books, but most of them have been on my Kindle, either through Kindle Unlimited or some arcs that I have gotten, so let's get into it. I have my iPad here and I've written all of the books down, so we're gonna go through them together. One of the first books that I can remember that I absolutely loved in the beginning of the year was Demon's Dream by Elle Kaysen. It was so freaking amazing. This is classified as like an urban dark romance. It is our main character, Demon. He is raised on the streets. He is very cold. He's actually a sort of hitman in the community, or an ex-hitman, so everyone has very, very much respect for him. And his brother actually runs a lot of the drug scene in the town that they live in. And it follows Demon and the main female character. The main female character manages to kind of like catch his eye. She actually offers herself as a form of payment to pay for her brother's debts to Demon, and they kind of enter this entanglement for a couple of weeks only, but they fall in over their heads. It is just so freaking good. There's a lot of drama. There's also another side story from Demon's best friend, and it's so freaking good. You guys need to read it if you haven't already. All the buzz of February was Onyx Storm and everything related to Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm. I absolutely loved Onyx Storm. It was such a good read. There were so many different reviews, right? People loved it, people hated it. I actually really enjoyed it. I liked it way more than Iron Flame. I just felt like Iron Flame was a little slow. I'm excited to see where the story goes next. I'm so excited. I really, really enjoyed Onyx Storm overall. Another one of my releases in February that I was so excited about was my favorite author, Alma Jones. She came out with book 2 in her Carpe Noctem series, which is the second generation of the Elite Kings Club. And this was Priest and his Anarchist. It did not disappoint. This is a dark mafia kind of secret society. This is the second generation of the Elite Kings Club. So Elite Kings Club is a series about a group of friends, and they run this town after their parents. So in the second generation, we're kind of getting the story of how the kids of the first series, the Elite Kings Club, is now taking over the leadership for them. It is super dark. Priest is a freaking maniac, sociopath. He is very, very dark and has no emotions. It was just so freaking good. I could not wait to read the next book. Priest and his Anarchist has just stayed in my mind all throughout the year. Staying in theme with the dark, I just started reading darker and darker stuff. So the next book that I actually read was Red Rabbit and Darling Wildfire. Red Rabbit is probably the darkest book I've ever read. This book follows our main character, and she is on her way to a different city on an airplane for vacation, and this airplane ends up falling out of the sky and crashing. This plane crashes in the forest, and the only other survivor was an inmate that was being transferred over to prison. So these two gang up and they try to make it out of the wilderness. They are trying to help each other, even though she's kind of like, wait, this guy's actually an inmate. I don't know what he's done. I don't know if he's gonna kill me or get me, whatever the case may be. They're trying to make their way out of the forest when a group of undercover men, like dressed in gear, like stumble upon them, and they actually kidnap them and try to sell them to this underground trafficking ring. It is so dark. There's so much abuse. They end up leaving the guy for dead, and they kidnap the main female character. The main female character gets sold off onto this underground trafficking ring, and she is sold to the highest bidder for 5 days at a time. She meets this one specific guy that she kind of gets Stockholm Syndrome for, and it is just so freaking good. Book 1 is Red Rabbit. Book 2 is Darling Wildfire. Darling Wildfire is about one of the guys that bites her in the first book for the first 5 days. It is so freaking good. You get more of the backstory. This main character, his name is Craven. He had previous time in the military, Black Ops, so you get that little bit of backstory about why he is doing what he does in the first book. If you're looking for pitch black book rec, I recommend Red Rabbit and Darling Wildfire. Staying on brand with the dark romance pitch black books that I read, my next favorite was actually also dark romance and pitch black. It was The Gods of No Tomorrow duet by Elle Mitchell. You guys need to read this if you haven't already. It is Pretty Poisoned and The Road to Ruined. Our main female character is a crime junkie. She has a podcast that follows criminal cases and investigations, and she gets word that girls are ending up missing after they go to a band's concert. So she goes undercover as a groupie, trying to go into this concert to kind of see what's going on. She actually becomes a groupie of the band, and the band is kind of more like a cult. And these two brothers set their eyes on her. There is blood, there is sacrifices, girls are ending up dead. This book was so good. Both of these books had me on the edge of my seat. So many cliffhangers, super dark, super gory, so please check your trigger warnings, but I seriously cannot stop thinking about this book, even today. I then did a 180, and this is what kind of got me into a slump. I read the Boys of Tommen series, finally, after putting it off for so long. I didn't want to believe the hype. I was scared that I wasn't going to like it, so I just put it off for so long, but you guys, I cannot believe I didn't read these sooner, and I want to erase it from my mind so I can reread it again. It is just that freaking good. I read all of the books back to back. Infinity Star read. This series put me in a slump for about 2 weeks afterwards, the rest of March. I read this in the beginning of March. After that, I was a goner. And now we're in May, and the next book comes out in 2 weeks, so I'm really, really excited about that. But yeah, Boys of Tommen series, if you haven't read it already, it is so good. Book number 1 is Keeping 13, and this actually follows the story of Shannon, who lives in an abusive household. Her father is an alcoholic, and she's gone through so much trauma in her life, and this just follows her story, her start at a new school because she was bullied at her old school, and she meets this guy named Johnny, and they start their friendship and eventually love story. It is so freaking good. This is a YA series, but it does talk about very dark topics, so I would suggest checking your triggers. Also in March was The Rivaled Crown. This was an arc for me. I got the PR box. Thank you so much, Holly and team, for sending that to me. It was so freaking good. This was the epic conclusion to the Veiled Kingdom series. I thought it was a perfect way to wrap up the story and Dacker and Rhaenyra's storyline and love story as well. I absolutely loved it. I could not get enough of their story. I'm so excited for what Holly has coming up next. She is actually going to be writing a cowboy romance, so I'm really excited for her. Talk of the Town was Kiss the Villain by Rena Kent, and you guys, it did not disappoint for me. I absolutely loved it. I actually got to listen to the audiobook as an arc, and I absolutely loved it so freaking much. Rena Kent and the audio production that they do, it is phenomenal. I would always recommend listening to the audiobooks for her books. They're just amazing. They're stunning. I absolutely loved it. It is an professor student dark romance. I still can't get Caden out of my head. My favorite rom-com so far has got to be Bridesmaid by Chance by Megan Quinn. I recently got added to her content team, and I'm so happy and so thankful that I am part of it. But Bridesmaid by Chance, I got to listen to the audiobook as well as read it on my Kindle. You guys, I had not laughed out loud reading a book the whole year. It was just so freaking good. This actually came out in April last month. Main character Sloane is just so funny, so sarcastic, so witty. There's an age gap. She is the assistant to her brother's friend, and he runs a huge company, right? So she is the assistant to him, and he is actually in a pickle. He is trying to close a client that actually needs a bridesmaid for his wedding. So he automatically volunteers Sloane, which is his assistant, to be part of the wedding as a bridesmaid. So they enter this contract negotiation type of thing where she agrees to help him out to be a bridesmaid in his client's wedding, and he agrees to lend her some money to pay for her house that she's gonna lose. This was so freaking hilarious. I loved it so much. Sloane had a way to just crack me up. Her sense of humor is very much like mine. So Megan Quinn, she did her big one with Bridesmaid by Chance. I absolutely adored it. Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. You guys, I was in shock when this book showed up on my doorstep. Entangled Publishing and Red Tower Books sent this arc over to me, and I have not read anything by Devney Perry before. I know she does write contemporary romance, and this is her first ever fantasy book, and you would not tell that this is her first fantasy. I feel like she's been writing fantasy forever, because this book is my Infinity Star book of 2025. I absolutely loved it. I devoured it. I could not stop thinking about this book. It put me in a book slump. I have not read another fantasy since it. I have an entire review on my TikTok if you guys want to check that out, but it is just a phenomenal, beautifully written, beautifully executed book. We are in the world of Calandra that has 5 different kingdoms, and there are these creatures that are trying to kill all of the people that were unleashed by the gods thousands of years ago. So the 5 kingdoms come up with the treaty that's called the Shield of Sparrows, where they kind of agreed to marry each other's royalty in the future, so they can just be no wars and there can be peace among the kingdoms, so they can focus on fighting these creatures that are trying to kill them. In the kingdom of Quentis, Odessa is our main character. Her sister is actually set to marry the prince of a different kingdom. He comes over in his ship along with his guardian, right? So he actually sees her and he's like, you know what? I actually want to marry you, Odessa, instead of your sister. She has to marry him that same day and get sold off to a kingdom that she knows nothing about. I'm not going to say anything else because this book is amazing. I highly recommend it. You need to read it if you haven't already. This, again, my favorite read of 2025 by far. It has blown me out of the water. The last book I'm going to mention is actually The Prodigal Son by Sarah Kate. You guys, this book is my favorite out of the Good Brothers series. It is so amazing, so emotional, so freaking beautiful. This is an romance. So our main characters are a pastor and a country superstar. So this country music superstar ran away from home when he was about 17 years old because he was gay and his family wasn't accepting of it because his dad is actually a pastor in a church. So he ran away from home and did his own thing, made his own life. He started to sing and he became a huge country music superstar. And our pastor is actually in the closet. No one knows that he is gay. His family has tried to send him to, you know, some counseling, some camps that help him pray away the gay, and it just was very traumatic. This story is so freaking good. I absolutely adored it. I loved it. Again, I gave it 5 stars. This was my favorite book out of the entire series, and you guys need to read it. Please read it. If you just read this book from the Good series, I'll be happy. Those are the books that I loved within these past 5 months. Again, I read 50 books in total, and I just can't wait to read more books. There are so many good books out there. So let me know in the comments, what has been your favorite book that you've read so far this year? I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!